So my interest in technology came from my love of puzzles and solving problems. And so that's exactly what software development is, essentially finding ways to solve problems. Sometimes more challenging, sometimes less challenging, but I've always loved to be in the middle of software development. So my career started with a mix of software development and consulting. I sort of bounced back and forth between the two. That moved on to work with everyone from a medical software company to a data science company, where I was involved not only in the development but also leading our consulting and our implementation teams. From there, I spent several years as a CTO for a small medical company, and then roughly 8 years ago, I came on board with Agiliway. So I went with Agiliway. I'd spent about 10 years with a machine learning data science company, and I worked very closely with a developer from Lviv, Ukraine. He led our offshore team at the time, and he was looking to build a new offshore custom software development company with several other people he had worked with previously. He reached out to me due to our close connection, and that's where things started, and we've been growing ever since. When it comes to leadership, I've received advice from several of my previous bosses, but I think watching people in action is what's really worked for me. There is a sense of leaders who lead by example and not by direction. So the ones that will get down deep into the work and actually will stay there to 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night and work alongside you, those are the ones that I've always wanted to work for. So I've always tried to be a member of the team. I've always tried to work alongside, my staff and those who are involved, especially during the tougher times. So the conflict in Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, has been tough on all of us. I say that it's been incredibly tough on our team. And I think for us, the resilience of the Ukrainians has been incredible. Our team sets out every day determined to make sure that this war does not impact their day-to-day life. They're adamant they're going to move on with their job, with their personal lives, with their personal growth, and not let any of this stop them. So when it comes to how I overcome it, it's easy. I'm 1,000 miles away. For how our team overcomes it, just incredible courage every day. And I admire every single one of them for what they go through and what they do, and their strength and courage to stand up in the way they do. When it comes to ensuring the quality of our deliverables, along with the pace and what we're able to accomplish, that is 100% on our Ukrainian developers. They've never slowed down. So since day one, we've been at 100% utilization. Our own CEO was out doing patrols at night while working all day. And so because of our Ukrainian team's strength, it's never even been in question that we're going to be able to provide 100% excellence. So when it comes to what the biggest trend is going to be in the next decade, I think unquestionably it's probably AI. I think today the biggest thing is there's a lot of hype, and it's very difficult for people to understand the difference between the hype and the reality of what AI really is. I was lucky enough to spend 10 years in an incredible data science company, and I've seen it in its early roots. But I think the next 10 years will really be understanding the difference between that, between what the perception of what AI is and the reality of what AI is. I think there's a lot we can get from it when it comes to medical research, to researching global warming, whatever it may be. But I really think there's an enormous bridge between the two, and the next 10 years is going to be figuring that out. I also think quantum computing can be huge. So if we can figure out the physics and the reality behind that, there's an enormous jump in computing power between what we have today and what quantum computers could be. So I think while we're all focused on AI, there are a lot of research scientists figuring that out in the background, and that may be an even bigger jump in technology over the next 10 years. So it's always really hard to stay up to date with the latest trends. And to be perfectly honest, the latest trends aren't always the best things. So working closely with our teams, looking at our team's implementation, when you have several hundred software developers, it's very easy to see what they're doing and let their experience feed back to you. When it comes to data security, There are a lot of approaches we can use. So my background, I worked for years in medical companies, and obviously HIPAA requirements meant that we always kept everything secure. From my personal experience, by keeping all data on our customer servers, never bringing any of that data local to our developers, we're able to maintain a high level of security with that data. Through VPNs, through secure connections, through working off of their servers. As long as we're steadfast in that commitment, we've never had issues on our side. So I think through close collaboration with our clients, this is daily stand-ups, this is regular meetings, we've been able to keep them abreast of sort of the latest technological advancements that we have through showing them our dedication, our strength, and our leadership in our development skills. I believe our customers have come to trust us over the years. And so they look to us for advice on the latest technology. They look to us for the answers on what the best possible solution is. And on a side note, the best possible solution isn't always the latest and greatest technology. Sometimes the older solutions continue to be better options for a lot of our customers. And it's the skill and experience of our developers that help us decide which solution is right for our customers. So it's always tough putting in long hours building a company. And so I found working out has always been a way to anchor myself and to keep my head straight. So I spent several years doing triathlons and Ironmans, and as long as I can get out the door and work out every morning, I feel a lot sharper during my day, and I feel it's easier to maintain that balance between work time and personal life. When it comes to personal accomplishments outside of my career, I think Ironman has been the biggest one. It's hard when you put in long hours to stay healthy and in shape. I was a pseudo athlete in college. I rode crew, and so that level of training always meant a lot to me. And I tried to keep that continued even while working, especially when putting in longer hours. When that slipped away, I woke up one morning and I just decided that I needed to find an answer. So I signed up for an Ironman, not having ever done a triathlon before. I gave myself about 11 months, and I just put my head down and figured it out. At the end of the 11 months, I finished my first Ironman. And it was a huge accomplishment for me. You know, when it comes to my role models, they're not always in the tech industry. One of my earliest role models was actually my college coach. So I rode crew when I was in college, and our coach was humble, to say the least. He was a leader in his own industry, in his own research, but he was never the first person to tell you what his background was. He simply let you determine your opinion of him by his leadership and nothing else. And that's always meant a lot to me. I try not to boast about the things I've done in the past. I try not to talk about maybe successes I've had as a way to get people to acknowledge my presence. Instead, I just sort of treat everyone the same and treat my job every day like it's my first day. And I just set out and try to prove myself one day after another.